Hey there, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Local Influencers Podcast. I'm your host, Abel, and today I have Jaclyn Blohm here with me. Jaclyn, thank you so much for being here.
Yes, Abel, I'm so excited to be here and to just chat about different things going on in my life.
For sure. Okay, everyone I know, we all say we're all busy, but girl, you are busy. You are a model, you do promoting, you are also do like marketing and slash producing and do like a market director for multiple radio stations here in town. And so living a busy life like that, I have to say, um, out of the things that we've listed so far, what is the the one thing that causes the least amount of stress on you?
The least amount of stress. Honestly, I don't I hate to like sound like weird, but I feel like I live a very stress-free life. And that's weird, but it's like everything I do, I absolutely love what I'm doing. So I'm like, this is fun. Like, and yesterday somebody asked me, they're like, so what do you do with your free time? And I'm like, well, like, honestly, I'm always working. Even if I'll be at the bar and I'll see somebody and I'm like, oh, you need radio ads? I got you. Like, so you need promo, you need advertising. I'm here. Like, let's do a photo shoot. So I don't know. I have fun with it.
Yeah, that's cool. And I think that it is like when you're doing something you love, you don't really get tired of it. You know, like you can work long hours and you're like, oh, I should probably eat or I should probably sleep, right? Because you're like, you
Hmm.
before the time. It's like when I'm recording, like today and yesterday, I recorded like maybe 8 podcasts in one day, and I don't think twice about it, like, you know what I mean, until afterwards I'm like, okay, yeah, that took a lot out of me, but it's because I love doing this. It's fun. I do get, like I told you before, I do get kind of anxious about it, but it's usually like just like the introduction. I'm always like, am I gonna mess up? What's gonna happen? But
Hmm.
I get the thing, like you're always on, like unintentionally. It's just like who you are, like you enjoy it. So I want to get let's first talk about your modeling. How did you start that? How did you go about that? Because I have to say, you are gorgeous. Like, I mean, your pictures are gorgeous. It's one thing to have like a filtered Instagram photograph, right? But I'm seeing you here on our Zoom call. You are gorgeous, and modeling, I can see why that would be for you. How did you get into that? And is how long have you been doing that?
So, thank you so much for like all of that. That was a lot. So I'm crying. So I got into it. Basically, it was the pandemic, and everyone was bored, of course. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start taking pictures in my backyard because at the time I lived at home. My mom didn't let me leave the house. I was just doing nothing. There was nothing to do except for watch TikToks. So, anyways, I started taking pictures of myself in my backyard, and then like right then and there, I decided like I'm gonna try to make my Instagram like something, and that's just how it started. And then eventually, photographers hit me up, and they were like, "Hey, like, do you want to do shoots?" And then it just kind of took off. So it's been a little bit over a year now.
Cool. And that's really cool that like out of boredom, basically you're like, you know what, let me try this out, and then it just kind of bloomed into something else, like, you know what I mean, like it has grown into this thing for you. I love that.
Mhm.
And so I really am interested in your promoting and your radio work, because I've always found it like fascinating. I know that you work for like Planet 106.3, The Bull, and 104.5 The Eagle. And
Mhm.
I am always interested like behind the scenes type of stuff, right? Like I'm always interested, and you get to kind of be a part of that. And what would you say is your favorite thing about working in the radio business?
So I'll say my favorite thing is kind of one like the laid back likeness of it. It's not like it's kind of the perfect in between of like working a serious job and like working like just a chill job. It's like the perfect mix. And my coworkers are so much fun. Every day I go into the office and I'm having a blast. Like I'm laughing. I'm having fun. We're planning stuff. We're, still getting our work done, but having fun too at the same time. So yeah, and it's a really good balance.
That's cool. And how long have you been doing that? And how did you get into radio and like the marketing part of all of that?
So I've been doing radio for a year and like 2 weeks because I know my year mark just passed. And it's been awesome. And I got into it thanks to Handshake. Yes, Handshake. Shout out Handshake. It was like an internship position, and I applied for it. And they were like, "Oh, you can't get it because I just graduated." So I just graduated Texas A&M Corpus with a marketing degree, and they were like, "Oh, you'd be perfect, but I'm sorry, it's only for students." It's like, well, I hate it here, so it's fine. That's fine. So then fast forward a couple months, it's the pandemic going on still, really bad at that time. I'm like not even working, and I had usually worked 3 jobs my whole life. But at that time, I'm like not doing anything with my life, and I'm like, well, here we are, graduated, pandemic, just living life. Everything's fine, and then I get a call, and they're like, "Hey, we have a full time position here, like marketing director." For the 3 radio stations you applied for months back. And I was like, "Okay." And they're like, "Do you want it?" And I was like, Is this a joke?" And they're like, "No, like," and I was like, "Do I have to come in for another interview?" And they're like, "No, like it's yours. Like just if you say yes, it's yours." So I was like, "Okay, well, I'm going for it for sure." Like, and so we talked about everything, me and my boss at that time. And it was just awesome, perfect fit, marketing. I don't know. I love it. I love it.
That's
So yeah.
awesome, and it's, funny that you're connected to the Bull because 'cause I'm actually going to interview a radio personality from the Bull for season 5 as well, and she's a dear
Ah,
friend. Coco is going to be on season 5 as well, and so
yes.
I know her from the mall because she also works at La Palmera, and she's always in my store. I work there, and she's always there, and so we've connected. And I'm like, it's really cool. Like that's what I'm saying. Like, somehow, everyone in season 5 is somehow connected by like a one person, and I love the vibes of season 5. So, um, what like in marketing for the radio stations, like what does your day-to-day kind of look like? I know it probably changes quite a bit. Like there is probably it's probably like you get things probably thrown at you and you're like, okay, I got to deal with this little fire now. Like I'm sure that happens, but what does that entail for like our listeners that maybe because I actually have friends that are in college graduating with similar degrees. So what does that like what does it entail like your job kind of like a day-to-day type of thing?
So day to day is it's a lot of meetings. So it's pretty much like I build my own schedule, and I'm supposed to see at least 2 clients a day. So see 2 clients a day, Monday through Friday. I'm at the office 10 a.m. I'm a late riser, so I got a little break on that one. Everyone else is usually there at 9 or 8. And so I go at 10, and then I say hi, I catch up on my paperwork because I have to also input orders. So I also manage like radio traffic a little bit, but there's a radio traffic manager, and she does like the hard work. I just like put it in for her to see that. So it's also getting new clients, getting new people that want to do partnerships, events. We do events too. So it's a lot of planning and just making sure that I'm remembering everything that is going on. My calendar is my best friend. Yeah, yeah. And then also, on like the broadcasting side, which I was like not signed up to be in, but now I'm in it. I go to the bar, Wednesdays and Fridays, and so I'm live there, and I do commercials now as well.
Oh, that's awesome. Like, look at you. Like the pandemic, like did you well. Like, like
It
it
really
like
did.
everyone else is like team struggle and you're like, you know what? I'm getting a new job. I'm starting modeling. I am thriving.
Yeah.
So
Real quick, I remember one of my friends, like one of my best friends, and she was actually my boss at the time. She was like, "I feel like you got your life together in 1 month. Like "What happened?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know. It just that's weird."
That is so funny because one of my friends and I have a joke in between us, and we're like, she just recently bought an iPad, and she's like, you know what? I need to get an iPad because people with iPads have their life together. And then it's been like a
Mhm.
month. It's been like a month, and she's like, the other day she messaged me. She's like, I still don't have my life together. So
Just
I'm like, yeah, buying an iPad isn't gonna just do that for you. You have to follow up on yourself. So let's say for like, for especially like I said, I have friends kind of graduating soon with degrees similar in your background. What are some tips that you would give them to kind of you reach out to these radio stations, TV stations, and in the business, I would say, like as we'd call it, what are some tips that you give like a new graduate?
I would say networking is your best friend. So I am currently in like 3 networking groups, or I try to be. The Chamber of Commerce stuff, just, you don't want to be places all the time, but just do it. You never know who you're going to meet. And just getting your name out there is just the best thing possible. So yeah, just showing up to as many things as you can, just looking up within the community what events are going on, even if they're not business related, how I go to the random pop-up events and stuff like that. That's beneficial in so many ways. Just I meet news people at actually I meet them at like Goldfish and stuff like that too. So even going out, people say going out doesn't get you nowhere. Well, sometimes it does. So I just kind of you got to get out there. You got to put yourself out there for sure. And yeah, Handshake and LinkedIn. Those are my 2 best friends for whenever I'm looking for a job.
Yeah, it's cool you say that. I actually a few months ago I was at like a local coffee shop over like in Flower Bluff, I think it's Coffee Waves. And
Mhm.
I just happened to go in there to meet some friends because I'm a part of a nonprofit organization. And we were just having like a little meeting, and we walked in, and there's this huge networking meeting. And I recognized a few faces because they're TV personalities and stuff and news anchors. And I'm like, wow. And we just so happened, thankfully, we were there at the right time, right place. Networking, you never know who you're going to meet. And we were able to meet connections and help us out with the nonprofit. And that was great. I was like so tempted to be like, well, this is the local influencers, but I like let the nonprofit shine. I was like, I'll get my time, with them when I get it. So yeah, like I definitely agree with you being the right, just getting yourself out there. And I
Mhm.
think right now is kind of some people are still kind of scared to kind of go out, right? Like I know
Mhm.
myself, I suffer from anxiety in general, but I think that myself like because I already work like in the mall with like high traffic and anything extra, I'm like, I don't feel comfortable doing that, especially going out to places like like local bars or nightclubs or whatever to meet people
Mhm.
or even for like a happy hour. I kind of get anxious about that. But
Mhm.
yeah, I think I agree with you, like networking the best that you can. So, um, I want to talk like a little bit more about your modeling. So I know that how you started and stuff, and you've said that you've had people reach out to you. Is this something that you are considering maybe going like a little bit more mainstream with and kind of continue to develop like a portfolio? Or is it something that you're kind of like, you know what, this is just fun and whenever an opportunity arises, it will happen?
I would say both. Just because just different things have been coming out more and more frequently. And it's like almost to the point, not quite where I would need like a manager, but it's getting there. And it's like, okay, like this could actually be something. And I'm really trying really hard to work towards something. But it's in the universe's hands, it's in God's hands, whatever it may be. So if it's meant to be, it'll happen. And that's kind of how I am. I'm like, I'm not gonna push the envelope too far, but if it opens, and we're gonna go down that path.
Yeah, that's cool. And so I want to just like ask like a about the whole promoting thing. How do you get over like being, I guess in your job you have to kind of be this person, but like how do you get over like some people I know kind of like introverted, right? Like how would someone get over or like what are some tips that you can give people to kind of get over that fear of going to like networking events or promoting, whether it's like you're promoting the radio stations that you work for or yourself, right? Like how do you go about, how
Mhm.
would you, like what are some tips that you'd give listeners like to kind of just get over those fears? Because like I said, I myself kind of have those anxieties. So what are
Mhm.
some tips that you'd give someone?
So I'm not even gonna lie, so I get that too. So I go to young business professionals meetings as well, and so far I have made no friends there. So I just go and I'm there, you know, and I'm not talking to nobody. I don't talk to 0 people whenever I go to those ones. And I I still find it good because you know what? I saw a great speaker talk, and then I ended up running into them at another event, and I was like, "Oh, I've seen you talk before." And boom, now we're connected in that way. So even if you go to these places, you don't have to talk. Just getting out and just being there is good. Another thing, if you don't like to go out, that I think is really beneficial is really scary to reach out to people, and a lot of people do want somebody to initiate it, but just go for it. The worst somebody could do is say no, and that's fine, or they could leave you on red, and that's fine too. I've been left on open red so many times, like I have 100 messages like that. So you just keep on going, keep on knocking on doors, and things are going to happen eventually when the time is right. So yeah.
I like that advice, and I do like the whole left on red thing. It's funny because like when I first started the podcast, of course I reach out to a bunch of people. I'm like, oh my god, I have this idea, and there's a few people on, and it's been great. It's developed, and now I just hit the 1 year mark. Going to season 5 in January. Going, this will be starting our second year. Um, it's funny because I was on the Ben's local list, like top 5. I made it to the top 5 in 2 categories, and so like that was exciting for me. And although I didn't win, I was still happy because I was like, wow, this kind of gives me a little bit of like credibility because you have like that inner saboteur, like you feel like you're just like, no, I'm not that person yet. Like I don't have enough following to reach out to this person or whatever it is. And so like I for
Mhm.
this season, I've started kind of being a little bit more ambitious with people that I'm reaching out to on social media because I do have those fears like in person. And so thankfully everyone I
Mhm.
reach out to is like, hey, oh my god, like I would love to be on your show. I'm like, all right, cool. Like I have some credibility now. So I think definitely you've given some great advice. So if you had to pick one, I'm going to put you on the spot right now. If you had to pick modeling, promoting, or working for like a radio, what would you do?
Modeling for sure. It's so much fun. It's such a fun process. You know, you pick a location, you pick an outfit, pick the theme first at everything, and then you watch the magic happen. And then it maybe get your hair done, makeup done, just the whole thing. It's like, oh my god, I have a photo shoot today. Like you wake up and you're acting different. Like your mood is a little different. Yeah, so it's so much fun, and then working with different people and seeing how people interact and stuff like that, it's awesome. And with the modeling, honestly, comes the promo too, depending on what you're doing. So, yeah, yeah,
I
modeling.
love that. I love that, and then I like you said, like kind of referring back to promoting. Like I always tell people like I don't think even if you aren't like a quote unquote influencer or have something to promote, everyone in some way is promoting themselves on social
Mhm,
media, right? Whether you have nothing going on, it's just your kids or what you had for dinner, you're promoting yourself to the world. And so it's always like, I always tell everyone, they're like, well, I have this idea or I want to do this. I'm like, just do it. You're already on social media. You have 200 followers right now. It's going to grow. Just do it.
mhm,
And everyone, we're all promoting ourselves, whether like we like it or not. It's just something that, like you said, it's it's a job for some people, but then like with the modeling, depending on what it is, it's also a part of it. So yeah. We have reached the end of the podcast. So now is the time for you to plug anything and everything that you would like, including your social media handles where people can find you, all that good stuff.
Cool, cool. Well, this has been so fun for one. And I'm so glad that I was able to be a part of it. And thank you to anybody who knows me or doesn't know me that's listening. My Instagram is at Jaclyn Blum, JaclynBlohm. And it's just my name. And then I also have a second Instagram, which is just for fun, hanging with Jaclyn. That's just like I don't care. I don't care at all on that one. So yeah, go follow me. Maybe follow my radio stations, Planet 102.3, 104.5 The Eagle, 107.3 The Bull. That's up to you. But yeah, thank you.
Awesome. And I definitely follow them and I definitely repost a lots of their things on our stories because I love the local radio stations. So yeah, I will post the links to Jaclyn's stuff in the show notes. So everyone listening, wherever you're listening, all you'll have to do is click the link and it will take you directly to her Instagram pages. So I'll make it that simple for you all. Um, yeah, that is it. Thank you so much, Jaclyn. Really appreciate your time. It was so nice meeting you. And for all of the listeners, wherever you are listening, please head out into your community, make a positive change, and do something good. Until next time, we'll talk soon.